After 2 wins on the bounce at home, Kieran and McKenna's ITFC are back on the road, hoping that a trip to Morecambe will bring them sunshine and that they'll play all the right notes in all the right order and won't be rubbish. This is the Blue Monday podcast. One for the kids there. Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast discussing Ipswich Town up or down since 2015. I'm Richard Woodward and you're listening to the Prematch show brought to you in association with our friends at the Greyhound Pub in Ipswich. We're available every week on podcast, audio and YouTube video. And joining me, a rare treat, David Diamond is in the Prematch hot seat. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I think it's my second appearance.
This
season, and I have to hold my hands up. Everyone will have laughed at me for my original predictions, which, in my defence, was the very first game of the season. So not really much to go on, to be fair. But I don't think I got one right. I mean, that's just terrible. But yeah, mate. No, good to be here. On the back of another good performance the other night.
Yeah, did you catch the Morecambe and Wise quotes in there, by the way, for the uninitiated?
Rich, of course I did.
I was practicing my impression and I can't really get it.
Didn't need to comment, past comment, but yeah, fantastic. Yeah, remember those, obviously a little bit of an older than you. So yeah, remember Morecambe and Wise on a Saturday evening. Yeah, that was the usual Saturday evening lineup. Morecambe and Wise. Probably those followed by an American cop show, match of the day, obviously. There you go. Happy days.
I mean, in comparison, mine was Only Fools and Horses, Gladiators, Chinese Takeaway, Casualty, and then trying to stay awake for match of the day.
That's pretty good. That's still pretty good, isn't it?
Vintage.
But I think for myself, we're talking about probably the halcyon days of TV, because don't forget then match of the day would be followed by Parky, of course.
Oh wow, there you go.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff.
Fairly standard Saturday evening, but good stuff. Yeah, I like that reference. All good.
I tried to, I had to go at the accent, couldn't get it right. And then there's this expression he does in the Andre Previn thing where he he gets told off, it's like that.
It's so clever that the again, a bit like the two Ronnies, the comic timing of those two was just impeccable, just incredible. Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about timing. I'm trying to segue it in. It's not going to work. Let's briefly mention it in off the top. Cambridge, really impressive performance. That one where, as the guys were talking about midweek, and you can still watch our midweek show with Ben and Craig in the usual places. Had to be patient, and then the subs kind of make an impact. But it's the kind of game maybe last season and previously, Dave, where we just would have huffed and puffed and never really got anywhere.
I think so. I mean, I think the most pleasing aspect of it for me is that we just didn't resort to, and we don't under McKenna we don't resort to just lumping it forward. We still continue with our with the play, ball to feet, movement off the ball was still good, and we had to wait. And the first goal, a little bit fortuitous, I think, but we had all the pressure. I mean, they must have been out on their feet and they looked at it after the first goal went in, but good awareness by John Jules. Really pleased to see, Edwards. I mean, just how much it meant to him, the first goal. All right, let's say a cross come shot, but what a finish for his second, what anticipation and pace and finish for his proper finish, that. And you could just see that the togetherness of the squad, how happy they were. A bit similar with for the Portsmouth game, where I could see how happy they were for Ladabo to score. Obviously the Plymouth, but the goal he scored against Portsmouth at the weekend. But equally, you could see the togetherness in the squad when Edwards scored. And do you know what I liked about Cambridge? Really well organised. I thought their manager is class. Afterwards, spoke really well. And I think he's. There was talk of him. Obviously, he was heavily linked with Rotherham, wasn't he? And I'm sure he's destined for, no disrespect to Cambridge, probably bigger and better things. But I thought they were really well organised. I didn't think they resorted. I mean, you always get that. I didn't really think they were too bad with regard to the time wasted. Not. I've seen a lot worse. Just a great performance. And like you said, one last season in previous seasons where, we huffed and puffed and just wouldn't have got the right result.
And they got decent players as well, like Brophy. Smith was up front. He was decent as well.
Smith was decent. Yeah. He won. I mean, I thought our centre backs were superb. I thought Edmondson was absolutely superb. different class the other night. Just everything, not just his his usual physicality and combative performance, but his touch on the ball and his awareness. He was I thought he was back to his like pre-Christmas best of last season. Really, really good. But I was impressed with Smith. I like Brophy, but I was impressed with Smith. Little guy, won a lot in the air. Awkward hold up. They didn't threaten at all. Let's face it. But yeah, he looked good. And you're right, Brophy looked quite good. But no, I just thought Bonner spoke with a lot of clarity and a lot of class afterwards, which you don't always get.
Yeah, clearly a really intelligent guy as well. So despite I'm not really massive fan of their fan base, nor they're chanting that they wear yellow when they clearly don't.
No,
but as a club, I quite like what they're trying to do there. So.
Me too. I mean, look, the fan base is an easy, the whole Norwich thing's an easy hit, isn't it? It's a cheap shot, really. But yeah, no. Equally, they're very much, with their resources, very much punching above their weight, probably.
Indeed, yeah. So interesting to see how they get on for the rest of the season. Whether there other clubs come in for Bonner as well. So as long as they're looking at Bonner, maybe they're not looking at McKenna. That came up in the debate last night as well.
So. Yeah, I know, and it's going to be. I mean, to me, I think I'm with most others that. I saw what you said earlier. Obviously, money and league talks, but yet hopefully he's here for that. He's the sort of longish term to see the project through, at least see us into the championship anyway. Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the weekend coming up. Very quickly, ITFC Women, 4 wins on the bounce in all competitions, a resounding 3-0 win. We mentioned it on the Flagship show last week. Goals for Bonnie Horwood. Freya Godfrey's home debut was capped with a really lovely goal as well. She's playing with England under 19s. Scored twice actually in their 5-0 win. I forget who they were playing.
How did she look? Did she start last week?
Yeah, quality.
Midfield?
She's she was one of the number 10. So the women's team played the same formation as the men's team. So she was probably in the chaplain role, I guess. But I think she pushed out wide right a little bit more maybe than Chaplin sometimes does.
I'm trying to think who I've seen play that role when I came. Was Eloise King playing that role?
She's a bit deeper this season now. You might have seen. Okay. Long while back last season, maybe Sophie Peskett might have been in that kind of.
No. Do you know what? She was injured by the time I really started to. What's the deal with her and Blue Wilson?
Blue. So quick question marks over Blue's timeline to come back. Sophie Peskett was doing non-contact stuff in training and was joining the warm-up last week. So I think her recovery is on track. So hopefully they were always targeting, I think, October, but it will be end of October if it's anything. But hopefully some minutes.
Both of those would be like 2 new signings. And I think we should mention, did I see that Paige Peake's got some England recognition?
Yeah, she was on the bench from the under-23s when we record on Thursday. Yeah, she was on the bench. I think they got beat, actually. But
okay.
Yeah, an excellent players renew and getting the plaudits and recognition that was inevitable.
And surely, a proper feather in our cap, really. Indeed. I think. Yeah, very much so.
So big game against Oxford, who are top of the league at the moment. I think unbeaten as well. Doubled us last season. Actually, caused us to lose our unbeaten start to last season in December. Right. Really threw us off a little bit and took a while to recover. So revenge definitely on the agenda.
Is it away, Rich? Is it away?
Away at Oxford, yeah. And to borrow Mickersm, they're no mugs, as we know. Unfortunately, Godfrey's away with England, as I mentioned. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on, and we will report back on the Flagship how they get on. But we wish them all the very best.
As Mick would say, take a point.
Take a point, definitely.
Take a point.
Indeed. What we won't, not be looking. Sorry, host failure. We will not be looking for a point away at Morecambe, will we? We'll be looking for all 3. Dave, talk to us about Morecambe's season so far. It
hasn't gone well. I mean, they're rock bottom, 24th. I think they've just. I think they've got 7 points. I think they've 1-1. Just got my notes. Sorry. 1-1, drew 4, lost 6, 4-8 against 21. I mean, clearly, no wins at home in the league. I think their only win, I believe, was at Forest Green. I think so. Yeah. And the big thing really
as well. 2 goals scored at home. of those eight, only two.
It's not good. And to further just throw another big old spoke in the wheel, they're owned, aren't they? At the moment, they're owned by Bond Investments, who also I think are the owners of Worcester Warriors Rugby Club, and that's all. Well, they've been suspended, haven't they? For this whacking great tax bill there, and I think so. Given the owner's financial situation, I believe that Morecambe are now up for sale also as of last month. So yeah, all is not well. I mean, last season, really, we spoke about it before we came on air. Very, very reliant on the goals of Cole Stockton, as was evident from the very first game of the season, wasn't it? And managed to stay up. I think 2 points clear of Gillingham, and I think level with Fleetwood, I believe, and basically stayed up. It's going to be a tough for them to stay up this season, isn't it?
It's weird to think how much has changed since that 2-2 draw on the opening day last season, where we needed an equaliser. Was it the opening day? It wasn't it? Last minute equaliser, wasn't it? Bonn and Norwood combined, and as you said, Stockton scored in that one, didn't he? And it's weird to think how the trajectories of the clubs have, where we are now, almost a year on, a year on.
Stockton almost came for. He's talking about hitting the ground running. He really did, and with that very first game, 2 goals in that game. Very good. Really classy finishes. I remember both of them, and he just went on, didn't he? I think we said 23 league goals. I think he scored 26 in 50, and then, as usual, what happens with these things? Perhaps his head is slightly turned. I don't know. And clearly, there is a contract situation up in the air at the moment, and I think he's only I believe I did some research, and I think he had some illness problems at the start of the season, but to date he's only started 5 games or made 5 appearances, and obviously hasn't scored yet. So a massive miss from last season.
And seemingly touted around every team in League One. I think we were linked with him, I think spuriously. But Fleetwood are definitely interested, weren't they? And
Port Vale, I believe. Yeah. But you know what? It does surprise me that someone, having that season, that no one in the Championship has made a move for him. I know there was, I don't think he was the type of player we were after. I think we spoke about that at some length on the pod, didn't we? Pre-season maybe, but I am a bit surprised just on his sheer, it's that whole thing, weight of goals.
How much they weigh, Dave?
I don't know.
But it did strike. I wouldn't be surprised. My expectation would be that if he went to another club, he'd be a small fish in a big pond kind of thing. If he'd come to Ipswich, I don't think, similar to Joe Piggott, wouldn't it? And obviously Joe Piggott, a difficult situation for him, but he would have been really struggling with the level of expectation. And you kind of sometimes players hit like Murphy did for us that in 14-15. You're in the right place at the right time, and as soon as you kind of move away from that, you're just not the same player kind of thing. And
I think you're right, and I think that's a very good comparison you make. I think people when he was being mentioned, perhaps obviously around for potentially coming here, I think people did make that comparison with Piggott, and it's a good comparison.
Yeah, we've mentioned the really tough start to the season. Last time out, defeat at Accrington. I guess there's no shame in that. A lot of teams will be beaten at Accrington, but a lot of mitigating circumstances. And we're going to talk about this 8 players who are going to be missing on Saturday. I think it's 8. Arthur Noah, who was sent off in this game. Have you seen this? Have you seen the sending off, Dave? Have you seen the video?
I don't think I did.
He goes for a header and leads with his elbow into the man and catches him in the face. And I kind of think they've appealed the red card. I don't see how that can be overturned. I think I can understand why they appealed it, and it won't be is it one of those ones where he's sort of levering himself up, and it's one of one of them? Does his elbow go? But it's properly, so he's leaping up to win the ball. But it's properly kind of, it goes outwards quite a long way. I think you could probably, if it were me, if I was him, if I was Arthur Noah, I would be probably saying, well, I've got to do that to get purchase and leverage. But I think if I'm a neutral party, I look at that and think it's just a little bit dangerous. So I'd be surprised if that's overturned. And that was the precursor for a 3-1 defeat. Admittedly, they got back into it. Stockton's lurking. It's an own goal that gets them back into the game, but Ethan Hamilton free kick, a low free kick that evades the wall, and then Tommy Lee finishes the job. But
I see that is actually Rick Astley's brother that got them level there. You know that, don't you?
Is it?
So that own goal. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Surely it's his nephew or his son. Come on. Rick Astley's about 50.
Must be. No, he's only can't be his brother. What am I talking about? I meant his nephew. What am I talking about? Sorry. Yeah.
I'll edit that bit. No, I won't. But yeah, the latest of a run of really tricky games. And talk to us about the boss, Derek Adams. It's not been a happy return for him.
No. I mean, he obviously got canned by Bradford City, I think, wasn't it? Bradford City. And basically, I think it was the previous boss, Robinson. Was it Stephen Robinson? I think took a job in Scotland, St Mirren, I believe. Perhaps I got that right. And yeah, it seemed a natural fit. Adams came back in. Obviously, successfully kept them up. You know, as we alluded to, with very much aided by Stockton's goals last season, but kept them up. But no, it's been a season of struggle, and so far, and I think certainly with the uncertainty, with the players that have got out injured and or suspension starting to mount up, and also with the uncertainty with regard to sale of the club, they're going to be really up against it, aren't they?
And he's talked about that to the local media this week, actually, and how much pressure that is. Ironically, his first game was in the dugout for Morecambe was the 1-1 draw. I went up for that one. Those were kind of the Ipswich performances under McKenna, where you kind of thought we're huffing and puffing, and
I'm just laughing at your notes and your final comment on the pitch.
Yeah, I think it's in good nick, but it was a very sandy, bobbly surface. I wonder whether they'll be doing a Birmingham City and digging it up on Friday night to make it
setting fire to it.
We'll talk about the goalkeeper's quotes about the game in a bit.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, Derek Adams. Since coming back, 27 games in charge, 8 wins, 7 draws, 12 defeats. It's not probably as bad as he would have thought, but the majority of the defeats have come at the start of the season. So one time Ross County and Plymouth boss, bulk of his career as a centre midfielder with Motherwell.
His stock was quite high, wasn't it? His stock was really high, sort of Plymouth and obviously Morecambe as well. So it's I'm just unfortunate for him, and with the ownership thing as well, just really, not good at all.
Should we deal with the 8 players who are potentially missing before we start talking about formations and key men and all that kind of stuff? So I
have to say, my knowledge of Morecambe isn't great, but there's some wonderful names amongst these players. Wonderful.
Do you want to talk us through them then, Dave? Go on.
Well, we have the aforementioned Arthur Now, who we mentioned. Now, Ash Turner, I do know, but that's a bad one. That's a long-term injury. What a name this is! Courtney Duffus. I'd love to call him Duffus. I'm sure it is. Courtney Duffus. Yeah, Courtney Duffus, who's a forward, current injury. This is the best one for me. Max Melbourne. Come on, what a name.
Sounds like a Bond villain or something, or an action hero.
Sorry, Max, I don't know much about you, mate, but he's a left back and he's got a long-term injury again. Caleb Watt, centre midfield, injury, hasn't featured this season. Oh, this is awful. It sounds like us a couple of years back. Jake Taylor, left midfield. He's had 9 starts, so fairly regular, but now injured again.
I think injured against Accrington, I believe.
I think you're right, actually. Yeah, Jonathan Abika, who's going to be missing for a family. Sorry to hear that. A family bereavement. And Liam Shaw, centre midfielder. I mean, that's just decimation. I mean, the squad can't be that big, can it, Rich? I mean, that's just decimation, isn't it? That is not great.
Yeah,
not great.
I mean, the key players are available, which is good for them. They're their top scorer and one of their key strikers, and obviously Stockton's around as well. But it's more the depth issue. There's a lot of issues. I think Melbourne's a regular starter at left back.
Yeah.
Certainly there is options there off the bench. I'm Ash Hunter. I think. Yeah, Noah would be playing. Caleb Watts, I think, is a good bench option for them. He can make stuff happen. Jake Taylor has made 9 appearances, so it's a real challenge for them. You feel really sorry for them. It's not what you need, and even stuff like Jonathan Abika's. I think his father passed away.
It's just really unfortunate. Yeah, I mean it's And normally, Rich, as we said in previous seasons, you'd have think, oh, here we go, Ipswich, soft touch, here we go. If ever the side's going to be, suspension and injury problems, we want to play Ipswich at home, we'll turn a memo where they'll just come and roll over. I just don't see that this season at all. And we'll get to my prediction. I'll be interested to see what your score prediction is for that. But I know you know my score prediction. But yeah, this should really be a comfortable win, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Conditions may play a part, as you said. Conditions may play a part, but fairly early season, I think it shouldn't be too bad, should it? It's not as if we're playing him, like we did perhaps last season, February, March, where the pitch was, as you said, not great. I think, I can't see anything other than it should be a fairly comfortable win.
In terms of players to watch out for, Jensen Weir, Dave, seems to be the
I think so. Yeah, I think he's got 3 goals, has he? I think he's their leading scorer, isn't he? I believe.
Yeah. And Kieran Phillips, son of Kevin. No, he's not. Or he might be. I don't know. Nephew, possibly. Now you planted that seed in my head.
When myself and Stat used to do This Week in Ipswich History, I mean, it was all sorts of connections, long lost relatives and stuff. But I just don't say. I honestly think it's going to be. It should be a comfortable win for us. I see in the squad, you got Dylan Connolly and Shane McLaughlin, who was obviously with them last season. I know Dylan Connolly was with us for a short period. Shane McLaughlin was with us a good few seasons without. I think he did make a couple of appearances, didn't he?
Was he in the Crystal Palace away League Cup team?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember him coming on under Mick and actually winning a penalty against somebody. I'm pretty sure he did. I'm sure he made no more than a couple of appearances, just didn't work out. But I mean, again, you've gone into a bit more detail with the stats. It's fairly damning, aren't they?
Yeah. In terms of the lineup, it's really difficult for us to speculate. The team against Accrington was Ripley in goal. We'll talk about him in a sec because he's made some interesting points.
Yeah, I think they were a 4-2-3-1. Did I see?
Yeah, it'll be a really narrow 4 as well, I think. I mean,
4-3-2-1. Yeah.
So Delaney and Ryan Delaney and Ferrand Rawson are the 2 centre backs. They build the defence around.
Yeah.
Midfield 2 of Gibson and Osmain, who I don't know too much about. We mentioned him, top scorer. He'll be in one of the midfield 3, along with either side of him, I think, is decimated by injury now, and Kieran Phillips will be up front. So we're not going to speculate on. We don't know Morecambe well enough to be able to figure that one out. It might be that McLaughlin and Connolly get a go. They've been
Possibly.
On the bench.
Yeah.
But it will be a narrow bank of 4 at the back. And, having watched some of the goals they've conceded, Dave, they're marking.
There's some horrors, isn't
they
there?
drop off, don't they? And they don't really pay attention. I don't know if they zone or mark, but some of these stats. Do you want to go through these? I mean,
their lowest possession, 37.2 with 36 possession, just over 36% at home. Shots per game, the 22nd and 20th with regard to shots per game. Lowest goals, only 2 at home. Oh, it's not good. 5th on goals against, 21, 10 goals conceded at home. Strange their shots come from out wide and not the middle.
Yeah, the wide players tend to get the shots away.
Okay.
And we mentioned that Phillips, the striker, who it might be Stockton might get a go. Maybe they go 2 up front and play Stockton.
You would think so.
He's only got 2. So the goal contributions generally from the wide positions. That's where they have their shots. 50% of their shots coming from the central band of the pitch is the lowest in League One. Only 50% of their shots, Dave, are from the middle of the goal. Seems bizarre.
That's a really bizarre thing, isn't it? Maybe they get in that final third and it's shoot from anywhere. Yeah. 3rd lowest territory in the away third. Highest shots conceded in League One. High on interceptions at home. Interestingly enough, 4th on interceptions at home. Committed most fouls in League One. 12.9 fouls per game, which again perhaps will lead on to what their keeper was saying earlier today. And it's again. When you're up against it, is this a fitness thing? 6 goals conceded this season after the 80th minute. That doesn't bode well. How we play, that really doesn't bode well for them either, does it?
No, and I kind of think if we were to score in the first 5 minutes, it could be
messy.
big
be
score,
messy.
couldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair play to Seb for finding that 6 goals conceded stat. I didn't know with that one.
Very good.
But, well,
I mean, it might not even be true, but it sounds right.
It's on the teleprompter, so Ron Burgundy's going to read it.
It's I mean, you're going to see, interesting what their keeper said earlier today, which is you can't blame him. Really, it's a proper rally war cry, isn't it, from Connor Ripley?
Yeah, he wants them to be brutal, nasty, and horrible, which. Yeah, kind of understand. Yeah, I don't know where he's from. I guess he's from Lancashire. So I do the accent. We got Ipswich at home next, and I was saying to the boys in there, that's Yorkshire, innit? Dust yourselves off. It's done. We can't change the outcome. When Ipswich come to the Mazuma, we have to be brutal. We have to be horrible to play against. People can take it however they want, but I know what I'm going to do to win a game of football. So Connor Ripley's going to get a red card, isn't he? So something's going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately he's a goalkeeper. Unfortunately he's a goalkeeper and not a big old hulking centre half. But you know what? I just think we've got enough character and characters in the side now to deal with that now. I mean, okay, if it does, you do perhaps, I saw some of our term group earlier talking about, the accumulation of bookings by Morsey and Evans and co. But I just think we've got people that can look after themselves right through the side now. And I really don't think, in recent seasons you get Chamber and people like that, but I think we have been a soft touch in recent seasons, and I just don't see that now.
Yeah, indeed. And let's talk about our lineup now, shall we? I mean,
yeah, interesting.
It's going to be, as much as Ripley's talking about making it a brutal, a horrible game. Yeah, it will likely be a very inexperienced Morecambe team. Yeah. Do you just stack it with our most physical, our strongest team?
I think so.
The easy calls are Evans back in, but Ball is kind of well suited to a game like this. So,
it probably is. That'll be an interesting one. I thought Evans. Yeah, I mean the subs had such an impact the other night, didn't they?
Evans is class, isn't
he? Yeah, he is having a great season. Look, Ball didn't do a lot wrong, but Ball hasn't got that. Obviously, I don't think he's quite got that variety and range of passing, has he? I would expect Evans to be back. I'd certainly expect Ladapo to be back up front. Yeah. I'd certainly be in his start again up front. I thought he was great the other night. Didn't score the other night, but I thought his physicality was good. His hold-up play is getting better. Ted, I was impressed with the other night as well. I was impressed with Harness the other night. Really worked hard the other night. Really did. Again, first
pre-assist, didn't he? And
that
first half reverse ball behind for Burns. I love those as well.
Yeah, no, very, very good. I thought he was. He's perhaps been slightly off in recent games, but no, I thought he was very good. But yeah, I see Evans, certainly Evans coming in. I think. Other than that, I don't see too many other changes. Really, do you?
No, I wonder whether there's part of McKenna that thinks it's a game we should be winning, and you maybe see a Richard Keogh or a Caden Jackson. We did say that Jackson's in a way of play, didn't we? But
yeah, we did.
But I think as soon as you start thinking about that, I think you plant the seed in the players' heads that the game's won before you already turn up, and therefore I think he'll probably pick the strongest team that's available to him and make subs.
I think you're right. I think I think it's not necessarily. It sounds mad, isn't it? It's not really necessarily that game for Jackson. I think we will have a lot of possession, and it's not as if we're going to have to, as we did, I think, to a degree with Sheffield Wednesday away, and I think with Plymouth away when we were really looking to play Jackson in the channels. I just don't see that being a necessity on a feature. Sorry, on Saturday. And the only other thing is Edwards. And again, I still see, Edwards, as good as he was the other night, I still see him at this moment in time being an impact player off the bench.
Agreed. Yeah, same with me. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? We will come back in a minute and we'll do our predictions, and we'll see what folk say as well in the chat about it in the Telegram group. And we canvass their opinions as well. Before we do that, a few bits and pieces of housekeeping. As always, the pre-match show is brought to you in association, in partnership with our friends at the Greyhound. It's an away day this weekend, but why not just visit? If you're Ipswich based, why not just visit the Greyhound anyway? What a great place to have a meal or a casual drink after work or something like that, and then back for Lincoln. Join us in the pre-match. Well, we we always hang around there, don't we, Dave? Although I was
We do
AWOL last week.
hang around.
We hang around and we linger.
Yeah, it was
We
rammed.
lurk.
I know you were feeling a bit under the weather last week. It was rammed last week, really properly busy. So no, it's just a great atmosphere there pre-match, isn't it?
It is. It's part of the routine now, isn't it?
It is.
As always, we've mentioned Telegram group. Always enjoy the chat there. If you're unable to get to the game and you want to follow along, or you want to, we've got people there. Seb will be going, I think, this week.
I think so.
The chat we've got a match day group that comes to life a few hours before the game starts. It's great. So if you want to find a different way of following the game, or if you're there and want to chat to people and share photos, join a Telegram group, Dave. It's great, isn't it? Free for a couple of weeks and then.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah. I mean, I know you have to be pretty ruthless in shutting it down in the evening, don't you? Because it could go on forever. But yeah, it's fantastic.
And if you're a paid member of our Telegram group, you get discounted tickets to our Blue Monday live event, 12th of November after Cheltenham. Getting excited for that. It's getting closer. We probably need to start sorting some plans out, don't we, Dave?
I think we do. Yeah, it's certainly getting closer. No, really, really looking forward to that.
Yeah, so tickets available, Blue Monday, ITFC.co.uk, all the bits and pieces that you need, whether it's merch, whether it's Telegram, whether it's the pod feed, YouTube, our socials, Blue Monday, ITFC.co.uk. But we'd love to see as many folk as there are possible on the 12th. We do enjoy the interactivity of the shows, the Telegram group, but we also like seeing folk in person as well. So hopefully you can join us for that.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully on the night, I know you and I have met quite a few in the Greyhound and at various away grounds. But no, I'm sure we'll meet even more of the Telegram group on the night. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, chat football, have a bit of fun, have a few beers. What's not to love about that? As usual, the Flagship show back on Sunday night, 8 p.m. I think I'm in the host chair. Craig and Seb joining me to chat Morecambe. And as always, if you've enjoyed what you've heard, do give us a thumbs up and a subscribe on YouTube. Give us a pod review, hopefully a 5-star one. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. We always like reading those as well. And again, if you're travelling up to Morecambe, you're listening to this on your way up either on Friday night or Saturday morning, then do tweet us and let us know, because we do love hearing from folk listening to the pod on the way to the match, part of your build-up. So hopefully... bring us back a win there. Anything else, Dave? Have I missed anything out apart from watch the midweek show? Is still available?
I don't think so, mate.
You've got it covered, haven't we?
I think you've got it covered.
Should we do some predictions then?
Go on then.
And as always, Dave, we start with the results from last week, and probably you've done Seb a favour, because he doesn't have to look at this green amazing run that I had last week of 4 correct result predictions.
Oh, wow.
To beat him. So I've got Bolton spot on, Charlton, Oxford, my 1-all's coming into hand, very useful there. Barnsley 1-0 I got spot on, Wickham, Plymouth I got spot on. But to be fair to Seb, he did predict an Ipswich win against Portsmouth, so we have to give it to that. Our Telegram guys got the highest amount of, they call the outcomes the highest percentage of the season so far, but a smug face from me after that one, and probably good for Seb's morale that he's not here to have to look at that in the face. But look at the league table. You weren't a fluke on the opening day, Dave. I've continued in my form. I was like 25 points ahead and 5 rounds in front, so it's not a huge amount.
Right, let's put that right this week.
Yeah, I believe in you. I want you to win for you.
Come on.
And then Seb can't take any credit next week. So let's do we'll see them in order, shall we? Let's start with Barnsley Exeter. Barnsley form team right now. We're both going for a 2-0 there. No real surprise with that one. Norwood's featuring quite a lot, isn't he, as well?
He is assist last week for the winner. Is that Aitchinson, who also scored a header against us, didn't he? Nice little header right in the far corner. They're on a great run, absolutely on a great run. Yeah.
So no surprises there. We're back in them. No. Bristol Rovers Cambridge. We're Bristol Rovers. I've lost faith in Bristol Rovers. I quite like them after the Tuesday night game against them, but you're going for a draw. I like Cambridge. I think they'll bounce back after Tuesday with a win.
You might be right. Maybe perhaps Ironside and Ironside might well be back. I guess.
I think they're probably a little bit too strong for them, but we'll see.
Possibly.
Away from home, long old trip as well. Derby, Port Vale, we're both going for a 2-goal margin victory, albeit different scores.
Yeah.
And Telegram 97% backing a home win there. Are you worried about Derby and Paul Warne?
Yeah, I think. Oh well, obviously we've got them coming up in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, fortnight. Looking for on a Friday night, isn't it? So looking forward to seeing them then. But yeah, I think they may well get a bounce. But hopefully between now and then we'll put even more points between us and them.
And he can't recruit any players until January anyway.
No, he can't.
So there's not a huge amount he can do apart from better coach them.
No, we just hope that Hurahan doesn't go on a crazy run.
Yeah, if I'm a championship club, a lower end championship club, I'm surely looking at Hurahan. I think. Anyway, moving on.
There you go.
Forest Green Bolton, we're both going 2-0 away when they're Forest Green really struggling, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah.
We made them look pretty good actually when we beat them.
Early, wasn't it? Early
it was that
season,
momentum, wasn't it? A promotion momentum that has really dissipated now. Lincoln Charlton are struggling to get excited about that. I kind of think they'll cancel each other out. You like Lincoln under Mark Kennedy?
Yeah, just going for a one. Yeah, I think just going for a 1-0 there. I think. Yeah.
Sneaky
Charlton are very up and down, aren't they? Yeah. Really are. Yeah.
Yeah, so, Oxford and Wickham, we will talk about in a minute because they're playing each other as well. Next up, the more I've talked about this game, the more I think your prediction's probably an underestimate as well. You're going for a 3-0. I'm going for a 2-0 Ipswich.
I really hope it.
It would be good, wouldn't it?
Underestimated by 3 or 4, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, an early goal and it should floodgates considering the players they've got out as well.
Professional job, that's what I want. And
I think I'll take a 1-0, but a 2-0, fantastic.
Yeah, keep the winning run going.
Come on.
Good, imperative, and 97% backing from the Telegram group. I mentioned Oxford Wickham. We're both going for a 1-1, the famous 1-1 draw. Telegram going for that as well. I mean, two sides from last season's promotion race who really just can't get going, can they?
Not yet. No. Same goes for. Well, we'll get to same goes for MK, doesn't it?
Yeah. Peterborough Burton.
Yeah, I think
struggle for Burton that one, won't it?
They could be again Peterborough filling their proverbial boots there, I should think.
And you've gone for a 3-0 in that one as well. I'm just underestimating a little bit. Plymouth Accrington's a tough game, but we've both gone for a 2-0. No surprises there. Plymouth just again in the midweek chat there was talk of Plymouth are going to drop off. I thought they would do that last season when Lowe left and Schumacher came in, and they never did.
I mean, I think I think depth of let's see their depth of squad. It takes someone like a Whittaker, an injury to someone as important as Whittaker, perhaps, and then
the keeper.
The keeper's just excellent. The keeper and Whittaker, but keep those two fit, and most of the other squad, and good side, mate. I mean, look at their beating, for goodness sake.
Yeah, indeed. Accrington, a long old trip for them as well. Portsmouth v Fleetwood, we're both back in a home win. You've got a goal for Fleetwood there, but again, there's a lot of these fixtures: Derby, Port Vale, Ipswich, Morecambe, dare I say it, Peterborough, Burton, Plymouth, Accrington, Pompey, Fleetwood, Sheffield Wednesday, Cheltenham.
They're all winnable.
Banana skins, no?
Did you think? Well, potentially, but looking at it and just how the top 6, top 8 are just rolling.
Relentless,
along.
Aren't they?
Yeah, I can see. In the old BBC, I can see green W's all round. I really can.
It's tough, isn't it? But we're both going for a Pompey win over Fleetwood. We're both going for a Sheffield Wednesday victory over Cheltenham, and then to finish things off.
I'm not sure about this
Shrewsbury, MK. I worry about MK. I really do.
MK have got to start picking up sort of a few points soon away.
I think we've been saying that for the most of the season.
I know.
They are 20th at the moment.
I mean, is it? I mean, they're not getting a loss, but were they so reliant on? Well, no, he was bloody League One Player of the Year, of course, Scott Twine, wasn't he? But I don't know. It just hasn't.
Season, 11 goals for.
Hasn't happened, has it? Just hasn't happened.
No, it's a tough one. I quite like Shrewsbury at the moment at home. They're a bit of a dark horse in the league, Shrewsbury.
I mean, we rolled
13th.
them over. We rolled them over fairly easily, but
did.
again, that was
We
mid-August, wasn't late August? But
yeah, good at home.
yeah, I mean, you wonder about MK Dons. You wonder. I mean, I think you think the owner is still quite high on Manning. I think I don't think the owner's a hire and firing type guy. Is he? You'd think Manning will get a little bit of time to, well, hopefully, because I think they're a nice little. I like MK. I like Millie and Manning. I like the way they try and play. So I know it's the franchise, but yeah, I like Manning's style. I like the way he tries to play, and I'd like to think they could perhaps get out of trouble, but maybe starting with a point away at Shrewsbury.
There you go. There's the prediction. Yeah, it's a tricky one there, isn't it? And but yeah, we'll see. So yeah, some real definitive predictions there. A lot of faith in the top six. Why wouldn't you? And Telegram reinforcing those views as well. As always, we'll be back next week to see how Dave got on.
I've got
whether
to say,
Seb claims credit or wants to get disown you or something. I don't know.
I do feel a little bit more confident than when I was sitting here a couple of months back before the very first game, and it was almost one of them sort of thing.
Jovie, yeah. I mean,
going back, don't forget, I did have quite a long, lengthy conversation this afternoon with Seb. So these are very much his ideas, his thoughts.
Oh, really? He's taking it seriously. No, and I mean, there's general agreement. There's a few ones where we differ, but yeah, we shall see. It's always interesting that we will be.
It's all starting to take shape, isn't it?
It is. We'll be back after this. Thank you, everyone. If you made it this far, I hope you've enjoyed bit of Seb's research, bit of Dave's research, bit of my research, team effort, as always. A few predictions in there as well. Hopefully you feel a little bit more informed. If you're heading up to the Mazuma, safe travels. Bring us back 3 points. And we would love for you to join us for the Flagship show on Sunday night, 8 p.m, live on YouTube. And as always, get yourself on the Telegram group. Join us for the live event. Head down to the Greyhound. Leave us a review. Give us a thumbs up. We appreciate all that stuff. And give us a comment as well. Give us your predictions too. If you feel like Dave and I have missed something, then let us know. But Dave, I will let you have the final word. Thank you, mate, for joining me and your conversation. Really enjoyed that.
Really enjoyed it, mate, as always. Thanks for letting me step in. Seb obviously couldn't make it this week. Thanks for letting me step in. Really enjoyed that. And here's hoping for 3 points and a nice, comfortable win on Saturday.